Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing good and having a wonderful day. So in the previous video, we have seen that how we can bypass the HTTP only cookies, remember? In this video, we're going to go with the same approach, but this time the application is a bit different. And in this scenario, we'll try to see that how we can still achieve the HTTP only cookie bypass, even if the application is somewhat a little more configured and a little more secured. Right? But as always, before diving deep into this video, if you haven't checked out the previous video, then go ahead and check it out. The link of the video is given in the description, as well as you can see it at the right side of the screen. And now, with that being said, let us get started. Okay, so as you can see, we are at the same application now, and this time the application has been developed in PHP. Okay, and once again, this is the exact thing that we are going to follow in a real world scenario as well. This is just created based on the real world scenarios. Okay, so let's try to go ahead and log in into the application. And meanwhile, let me just turn on the intercept as well. Click on login, and let's try to intercept the response, just to verify that the cookies which are getting assigned have this HTTP only attribute, right? Which obviously means that we cannot access it through JavaScript. It can be only accessible by the web page itself and by the browser. So let's try to go ahead and forward this now. And you can see it is working fine. Again, we can verify if the cross-site scripting vulnerability is there. Let's try to do script alert 1 and script close, hit enter. And as you can see, we are successfully getting this alert, which means that this application is indeed vulnerable, right? And once again, if you go ahead and try to do like alert document.cookie, you'll see that the value we're getting is null, right? So in this case, again, what we did in the previous video was to intercept or to see the source code and see if the value is getting rendered anywhere or not, right? But over here in this scenario, you can see that the cookies are not getting rendered at all. Right? There are no cookies present in this application. Now, what can we do in scenarios like this? Now, if you notice, this is the reason why also that initial reconnaissance is very important, and a very sharp eye on your application is also very necessary. Okay, because I have told you a little before starting of this video that this application has been developed in PHP. Right? And if anyone is familiar with PHP, they know that there is a file of PHP which is known as phpinfo that just displays the information about the server, the request, and a little bit about the environment variables of the server, right? So if this application is having that same particular file, then it can be very interesting for us, right? So what I'll try to do is that let's try to go with content discovery. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the URL from here, and then I'm going to open the application, my Kali Linux server. Okay, and let's try to go ahead and run ff. So try to go and ff let's fuzz.php because we're trying to find PHP file, and then let's provide the word list. I'm going to go with raft medium as it is my favorite go-to word list. Okay, and then we can simply do -ac, and I would like to match everything. Okay, and then I think we're good to go. Let's try to hit enter, and as you can see, it is now doing its job. And if you take a closer look, right over here we've got the file phpinfo, right? And the size is about 75625. Let's try to open this file in the new tab. I'm going to copy this. Let's paste it here and type phpinfo.php, right? Hit enter. And as you can see, we are successfully getting the PHP info file. Now, PHP info file itself is not a vulnerability at all, right? Because it's just displaying the informational thing. If you're getting some environment variables data, then that can be considered as a vulnerability, right? But over here, we'll try to go ahead and change the PHP info file with the cross-site scripting vulnerability that we have found. Okay, so take a closer look. If you go down, okay, and if you go to the somewhere right here, the HTTP header information, you see something really interesting. Okay, you see that even if the cookies were not rendering in the page itself, in PHP info file, it is always going to be present, as we can see right over here. The cookies are getting rendered, right? And this means that since we have the XSS vulnerability, and since the cookies are getting rendered somewhere, not at the same page, then we have the possibility of stealing it once again. Okay, let's try to go ahead and see that how exactly we can this time steal the cookies if it is getting rendered on a different page. Let's see how we can do that. Okay, so let's try to understand the situation over here, right? So what exactly happening here is that the cookies are getting rendered, but not at the same page. It's getting rendered on a different page, right? So what is the step that we're going to follow in this situation? First thing is that we need to somehow send the request to this endpoint, which is phpinfo.php. And then once that is done, we need to extract this cookie value, right? We need to parse the cookie from this whole data so that we can only get this data instead of all of this value, right? And for doing this, I have actually created a very simple payload. Let me just show you right over here. Let me just go to my notes, and here it is. So this is the payload that we're going to use in order to steal the cookie in this scenario. Let's try to see that what exactly it is doing. So I'm going to copy this, and let me just go to burp decoder, and let's decode this. Code this to URL, and this is the payload. This whole is the payload. Okay, the first thing which I'm doing is that I'm sending a request to phpinfo.php. Okay, and once I have the response, I'm converting it into a response like a text value, and then this is a regular expression, okay, which is getting used to filter out the value in which we are actually interested. Okay, because over here we are interested in cookie, right? So this is the reason why we are going to use HTTP cookie. Let me just show you this. HTTP cookie, you see, this is the actual value that we are trying to parse. Okay, let me just go here. Sorry, this is the actual value that we're going to pass, HTTP underscore cookie. Okay, and then if it is able to do that, we'll get the value. Otherwise, we'll get the error which is not found. Like this is the value that we're going to get as alert. Okay, so this is exactly what we are doing. And once again, let me remind you guys that it is actually important for you to understand how JavaScript works, how web application works, and for that you need to have a little bit understanding of JavaScript and a little bit understanding of how applications work in general. Okay, so I would recommend you guys to go ahead and start learning with that if you are really a beginner. Otherwise, if you know about it, then it's fine. Okay, because now once you have the approach, what you can do is, like, if you really wanted to parse this value, you can just use an AI tool like ChatGPT or Gemini or etc. to get the exact regular expression that can help you to fetch the value. Like over here, this value is something that I have got, like till this value is something that I have got from from ChatGPT. Okay, so yeah, this is how you're going to use it. And once we have this, we can finally do one thing, which is just copy the payload here. Okay, and let's go ahead and replace this payload with this one, this new payload, and hit enter. Okay, and as you can see, we were successfully able to get the cookie once again, right? So this particular situation is very interesting, and this is very common in real world application, right? Because generally we see that PHP info file is most of the time is enabled on PHP based application, right? And if there's a situation where the cookies are set to be HTTP only, you can just chain them together to execute or to increase impact of cross-site scripting. I hope you all have understood this. If you have any doubts, if you have any issues, feel free to let me know your doubts or issues in the comment section. Also, I'm going to drop this payload into the description as well, or I'll pin it in the first comment so you can have a look at this if you want. And yeah, once again, if you have any doubts, if you have any issues, just let me know your doubts or issues in your comment section. Also, do join our Telegram channel if you want to stay updated with the latest trends and technologies going into cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and bug bounty hunting. And now, with that being said, keep learning, keep hacking, and thank you so much for watching this video.